Good morning everyone. This is the first tutorial with microphone and I want to explain you, I made some updates on my TouchDesigner VJ Studio and a little bit has changed, and I think it's nice to let you know what changed because then you can use it. So I start with 3 folders basically. One folder is called the TouchDesigner VJ Studio. This is basically all the files which are in. Then I have another folder called TouchDesigner Patches, and that's all the extra patches which we can load in later. And I have a folder called TouchDesigner Media. This because I'm working on the Google Drive. Those 2 folders, they are always getting synced with the internet. And this folder, the media folder, I don't want it to sync. It's all the exports, you know, and all the assets and videos, and I don't want that they sync online because it just takes too much time. It's a lot of gigabytes. So this is basically how I structured the project. Let's jump right in. Best is you open the TouchDesigner Studio file. I always click on the latest version and not on that thing because I had some bugs and I'm just happy to click on this one, but I don't know, you can test this. That's where I click on the one with the growing number on it. So I'm opening the project and music is playing. The thing is not full screen. I have to stop the music, stop the whole patch. Yes. So here we are inside, and I just turn the music down. So first I jump into the new user interface. And later I will go into the components because I think the user interface is more interesting for the people who want to use it. So you can always make a right click on Tools and View, and then you have the user interface right here. That always works, but it's not the perform mode. It's more like I'm playing around on my computer, but I don't have a projector connected. So I quickly tell you how to connect the projector before I do anything else. To do this, I go to the home view, and here we have already 2 windows. So here we are in this view, and I make a right click on the perform display. I go to parameters, I mean it's also here on the right, and then I go to window placement dialog. Yeah, that's a good one. I click here and then I click on perform mode. So here already we have one window which is really performing. You see TouchDesigner is not active anymore. We have really good performance now, and we can move this to one window, to the projector, you know. And then I can click here, perform tools. I can click on this one, and then it's opening me the other window, and I can drag this on the computer window I'm working on, and the other window I drag where on the projector, and then I can have I have 2 windows basically. That's pretty cool. So I close this. If you want to be full screen perform display, I think here you have to play around with specify monitor. I think this one needs to be number 1 because this is the external monitor, like the one from the projector, and in the perform tools this one needs to be number 0. And let's try it again. Perform mode, yes, it's working on my other window. You don't see it right now. And here, so now on my second monitor I see the animation, and on my first monitor I can use the interface, and this is it. I mean, it's pretty cool. So this was it for that. Cool. So then that's what I showed you. That's good. You know that. And now again. So now I want to show you the new features. So I go to Tools, I right click, I click on View, and I just make this window big. And we can all have a look at it. Nice. I switch off the music. Wait a second. Here. So we have the left and right mixer, like two turntables. I can load TOX files in. You know, for example, like here, by the way, I'm in my other folder, TouchDesigner patches. And here I go to TOX and patches. And here I can, I don't know, I don't have so many yet. So I load my 3D diamond in, and in the other one I'm loading my ramp tiles. That's this thing. I'm just loading them in, and I can play around with it. That's already pretty cool. So I can, all the custom components which I prepared in the patch, I can use. So same goes here. And here on the right I have the generator. I have 3 oscillators, or whatever you want to call it. You can do ramp, you can do sinus, you know, and then you can just grab that thing and drag it on something, and not much is changing here because it's only moving between -1 and 1. So you can say I'm gonna multiply the value by 10 or 100, or you can speed it up, or with the maths chop where you can say from 0 to 1 becomes from 0 to 1. You can also say, instead of the multiplying, you can say it becomes from 0 to 100. That should also work. Or you can say it becomes from 30 to 100. You know, you can kind of play around with those values. You can also, let's say, I don't want a sinus, I want a triangle. It's more triangular. And then you can, or for example, you can say the ramp. Let's speed it up so it's a bit faster to explain. Here, you see, we're in the ramp mode. And I also added lag. Like you can add 1, and now it's like it added this lag, so it's a bit more smoothed out. You can kind of change this value so to make the movement more smooth and not so hard. So this is cool. We have this, and we can do exactly the same on the other thing. We can take another value thing here. We could take this and drag this on the face. So now this is moving pretty fast. We don't want it that fast. We want it to be more slow. So now it's slower. But we can also say instead, you can also type in something, you know. You can also type ABS time frame divided by 100, by 1000. I mean, it's basic stuff from TouchDesigner. You can either use my 3 generators, or you can write your own function. That's all good. So here you can play with your own compositions. You can just do that. It's pretty cool. And then we have on the left bottom, we have 2 other screens. Those are effects. I made some other effect channels. So I have with TOX, I have effects. I don't have much effects yet. I have 3 effects. This one is the basic effect. I have some basic things, for example, inverted, you know, or let's work with the color. For example, one of the effect things is the hue offset. You know, like this, you don't need to put all the the color adjustments and contrast and stuff, you don't need to put it into your comp. We can just have the effects comp with which we can kind of control what's playing here. So we don't have to build the, in Germany we say eierlegende Wollmilchsau. We can just have a very basic component, but then put the effects on it and play with it. I put this bloom effect on it. You see, it's kind of glowing. I really like this bloom effect. No, it's already such a difference from when you look from here to here. It's already pretty cool. Yes. Then we have one other channel, which is the master channel. That's basically what the user will see when they output it. So here, that's basically the same like the effects thing for each layer, but it's just the effects thing for everything. And first I go into the mixer, because like it goes from here to here to here. So here with the mixer I can mix the two different things. You see, I'm on the left and now I'm on the right. So I'm mixing those different layers, and there are different ways to mix it. There's a difference effect. I mean, it already looks pretty cool. Or there's so many effects. I didn't build that mixer. You can just play around with them. I think the difference effect is always cool. There are even more effects if you click on all. This thing is done by TouchDesigner. Super cool. When you drag the crossfade, you can also drag it from here. That means you could even connect it to something like this. And now the crossfade is controlled through one of the channels, through one of the generators. It always goes from 0 to 1, so you need to make sure that it goes from 0 to 1. That's cool. And I also added special effects to the mixer. Like I turned them on, and now the overlay effects, they are not active anymore. Now we have different effects. You see, we have a cool morph effect happening here between the two layers. And that's also a TOX component which I took. I need to put into the credits who did it. And you can put, there are different things like the ripple or dreamy, pixelize. So that's basically how you can kind of change or morph. I like the morph the best. I think it has this WebGL glitch style. I really like it. Yeah, but you can do classic. You can switch them off, and then you're in the classic thing. Yes, there are also that you can go up and down. You know, that you even switch between two effects. Just play around with it. Mostly of the time I stay in the crossfade. That's basically it. So here you see, here's a head, and here we don't have a head. So in the master channel, we can add another effect as well. So now we added the basic effect. That's the same we have here and here. So here we can add the bloom intensity, and look, it already looks really dreamy. We just started with this weird shape which is moving and the lines, and now we have like a colorful dreamy thing. Here we can offset the colors again. I mean, super cool. We can you can have so much fun. It's so nice, right? So, and I mean, you saw the 3D head. I built a basic 3D component with the FBX file. You can have a look. So we have a mask, which is basically taking the same. We can make the mask bigger, and now we can put the bloom effect on it or not. You know, you can load any FBX file in it. I think you need to clean it up a little bit, that the textures are not getting into conflict. But you can even change the FBX file here. in the custom thing. That's pretty cool. Once you changed it, you need to click pulse so it gets activated. Let's try to use it. Here I'm now in my TouchDesigner media folder, 3D, sculpture, pulse, and now we have this other guy in it. Super cool. And the gamma only goes on the texture because maybe you don't want him to be so bright as the background. You know, just to play around, we can even make the FBX object invisible. It's just a really basic FBX 3D player, nothing too special about it, but it works. The noise, I always leave it on top, I always leave it on. That means it makes a very small noise on the overall image, which gives it more of an analog feeling. You can switch it off, but in my opinion, it's nice if it's always on. So now we talked about already quite a lot. So we talked about the generators and stuff, and let's talk quickly about the sound. You can hear there is some basic TouchDesigner sound playing, but we can also put our own sound in it. Normally it's also in my media thing, in the assets, music. Well, I don't have anything in, I had it somewhere else. Here you can kind of select your different music. So that's cool. I will also build in that you can, via a microphone input or the headphone input, that you can kind of, makes me nervous, that you can kind of put sound from the outside in. I mean, the sound is just for, it's not really, I didn't make like a beat sync or anything, you know. Maybe in the future I put that in, but for now I don't want to build too much on this template at the moment. I really want to use it to make cool visuals. So, but I think a beat counter or something, I could put that in at some day. Shouldn't be too difficult. What's really cool is my recording component. So here first you need to select where do you want to record. So I also want to record into my TouchDesigner media, exports in. I made a folder which is called in. So here I record, then I can name the file like tutorial, and then I can I put music on. Music's playing, super cool. I press record and I'm recording. There you go. That's it. So you can play around and all is easy. I'm using this TouchDesigner Studio mostly on my Mac. So I think if you use a Windows computer with an NVIDIA card, you need to go into that recording component and change the recording settings to H.264 NVIDIA, because it's just much better performance, but that's something you just need to do. So you see here in my media folder, exports, in the in, here it is, TDVJ final tutorial. And if I open it, I have it, and here you can also see the little grain which I was talking about. So it's really good quality. It's also 224 megabyte, which is super big, just for a cup for 11 seconds. So watch out when you do long recordings. And if you want to put this video upload it to, I don't know, Instagram or something, it's a bit annoying because it's so big. So I built myself like automation. I made another folder called out, and every file I put into the in folder automatically gets compressed, and you see it's only 15 megabyte big. So the quality is losing a bit, but at least it's not 224 megabyte anymore, it's 15 and is easily to share. I built this with Mac Automator, not with TouchDesigner, and yeah, good. Another thing with the recording studio, you see I only made one recording now, the final, but I also can click recording social. So let's do that. I just change another color here, so we have a little bit of a different vibe. And now I press record. So now I'm recording into the recording social. I press stop. And now if I go to in, yes, I have the final recording. That's the one which we got the last time. But I also got the recording in this size for the Instagram post. I got the recording as an Instagram post with user interface, which is super cool. So the first post you make can be just like this, and then the people can swipe to the right, and then they see basically what you're doing with your interface. And also it gets recorded in the story format, and once in the story format with your interface below, here's a black gap. I should fix this, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. With one click you can get the final recording and the complete social media recordings. I'm a bit proud of that. It wasn't a complicated to program, but I think it's just so useful. Yes, almost done, almost done. Here is another setting, that's the screen width. That's the screen width of your projector. So let's say your projector is 300 pixel wide and 1000 pixel high. It looks like a tower. You still need to click this button, the reload all button, because you see this one already took the proportions, but the other ones didn't not. So you need to toggle the reload all button. Sadly, it resets everything. Here's a little bug. It also should have the same proportions, but I will fix this at some point. It doesn't really make a big difference. Okay, I just fixed it. It was an easy fix. So let's say we have a screen width of 300 and screen height of 1000, or I don't know what we said, can't remember. And then I click the reload all button and I need to untoggle it. Then we have the right dimensions everywhere, you see. And yeah, so that's how you can basically change how you can adjust your patch to the size of your projector. Yeah, so I go back to, can't remember what I had, 1029 times 1080. I mean, it's pretty big. Yeah, here we are, here we have it, and I'm automatically recording in those resolutions. Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it from looking at the interface. I mean, you can combine so much. You can turn this here, you can mirror it. Yeah, you can really play around. Because sometimes I can show you one cool one. For example, here you can make what is it? So it's effect, you know, face, apps, time, frame. So this one is going super fast. It's a bit slower. Here we go. Let's make them thinner. And I think it's, yeah, here. So, okay, because intensity, gamma, everything is. And now you can kind of make the glow intensity more here. Yeah. And so it's kind of taking the image, so the thing is turning. Don't like the mask anymore. I changed this for the basic one. And you already have like this overlay. I think I just can't. Can't get rid of those lines. It's a typical effect when you want to show something. I don't know. Let's put in another effect. Noise displacement. It's just like a basic noise function. Time frame. So we have the funkiness, and here we go down. Yes, that's what I wanted to show you. I mean, it's just basically those two images overlapping, and now you raise the bloom intensity and you have like a lot of stars. And I think, you know, like just with basic compositions you can already do so much. I think it's super cool. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you from the user interface side. And now let's quickly look into the patch itself. Here we have our settings thing, the settings component, you know, it's here. Here we have our generator component. Here we have the mix stack basically, and here we have the one which is the effect stack. Here we have the blend modes, we have the master component, and we have the recording one, and here we have the sound component. So feel free to dive into them, to change them, you know. Here you would need to change I have MP4, but if you have NVIDIA card, select this, it's way better. Yeah, I mean, there are always ways to make things better, you know, especially with the selector. I kind of copied this to here and copied this to here. So at some point I want to make a better solution, but it works for now and I'm happy about it. I made a UI component where I'm kind of arranging everything. So these are selector components which are just taking the content from here. So here's all the proper stuff, and in the UI component they're just getting structured to that composition that you see. And here I'm exporting this composition and putting it into the recording one, because you remember we have this export and we have the export of the for the Instagram stuff, you know. Good, I think that's it from this side. Just press save and I quit. So here we go. And now I look into the patches. Just delete those two. Doesn't work. So I'm opening the patches one. I will put that as extra GitHub repository. Yeah, and in the patches, you know, I explained it already the last time. I kind of threw out a lot of patches because I'm a cleaner. I always delete stuff when I start to clean. So here you can see the different patches which I have. Here's the diamond, which we talked about, or which I showed you. You can go into it. And I think I showed this in the last tutorial. If you build your own patch, you need to take care of a little bit of things. Better I show it in the noise displacement one. For example, you always should take the size of the parent. You know, that here, parent size. So when the component gets imported to your TouchDesigner VJ Studio, it automatically takes the parent size and does not kind of have a weird size. That's important. And if you make your custom parameters, you know, you do that customize component, and then you need to, I have a lot, so then you just drag and drop it in here, and then you need to select the bottom one, set reference expression on source. That's the one when you're gonna use your custom parameters. The other ones will be overwritten when you're basically playing around with the TDVJ tool Studio. So always select this, and then you can save it, and then you can export this component, export it into the TOX, patches, save, yes, override. So now our new noise displacement component has an invert function. And you know, TouchDesigner has this thing, if we move this, then we lose it. So what I normally do, I toggle this to read only, so you cannot by accident lose your connection. Yeah, that was this. And as I said before, I have this other folder, TouchDesigner Media. Here are all my exports in. And in the assets folder, I have my 3D stuff. I have all my images which I did in Midjourney, for example. I have music, I have videos. I don't have them, but if I have them, I would put them here. And that's basically it. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you play around with it. And if you do, please send me some results. I'm really excited to get some feedback or see what you guys or girls did with it.